In this video, we're going to take a look at drawing and using trend lines. If we create a scatter plot with some data and we notice that in general something's happening, in other words, as one value increases, the other one increases, or vice versa, maybe as one decreases, the other one increases, we can draw a trend line to help us make predictions and look at what's happening with that particular set of data. So let's look at how we can do that. In this situation, I've got a scatter plot with the distance a golf ball traveled and the club head speed. And if we look at the scatter plot, we notice that in general, as the club head speed is increasing, so that's what's happening as we go to the right here, the distance traveled is increasing. Notice how these values are higher up than the values down here. So it appears that there's a relationship between those two pieces of information. So we can use a trend line to take a look and maybe make some predictions. So to make my trend line, and another word for trend line is best fit line. This technically isn't going to be a best fit line because I'm not using technology or any real math to come up with how it should fit in here. But what I want to do is look at, in general, kind of what's happening. So as I put this through here, I want to have approximately the same number of points, about the same distance on either side of my line. So if I create this line through here, something like that, that's a pretty good approximation of what's happening with my points. Notice that it's kind of going up like so. So based on that trend line, I'm able to make some predictions and see, well, what would something be for a given situation. So let's look at a couple examples here. For this first one, it says if the club head speed is 104 miles per hour, about how far can we expect the ball to fly? Okay, so we find the club head speed being 104. Well, that's right here. So then we're going to slide up at 104, and then, so our line is right there, so then let's look across and see how far we would expect the ball to travel. In this case, we would expect the ball to travel about 275 yards because that's where our trend line puts us. So 275 yards if the club head speed was 104 miles per hour. Now, we could go the other direction as well. Let's say that the distance traveled is 270 yards. Okay, so we find that right here, 270 yards. Then we're going to slide across till we hit our trend line, which puts me about right there, and then slide down here. We're about halfway between 102 and 103. So it appears that the club head speed must have been about 102.5, we'll say. So 102.5 miles per hour. Okay, so based on that trend line, we can make some predictions and know maybe a little bit more about what's happening. So let's take a look at another scatter plot here along with another trend line, see if we can't pick out some more information. Alright, on this situation, the trend line was already sketched in for us, or the best fit line. We can also make some predictions. So let's kind of get a feel for what information we have. First of all, this is the years of experience, and here we have the income. It appears that it's probably in thousands of dollars. So let's maybe just jot that in here. So thousands of dollars. Okay, so it says about how many years of experience does someone who earns $50,000 have? Okay, so we find $50,000. So that's right here. We're going to shoot across to our line. Now notice right here we've got 2 points that are off the line, but that one's at 10, that one's at 15. So you might say, oh, what is it? Well, we just go to our line. So go to your line because that's the trend. And if we notice and we shoot down here, it looks like probably somewhere between 15 and 20, maybe a little bit closer to 20. So it appears maybe 17 or 18 years of experience would get the person to earn about $50,000. Okay, so based on our data and that trend line, that's what it appears would be the case. Let's take a look at this second one. About how much does someone with 10 years of experience earn? Okay, so again, notice how right here we have the years of experience. And we have two pieces of actual data for 10 years of experience. We have down here, it looks like 30,000. Up here we have at 50,000. Well, which is it? Well, our trend line allows us to make a prediction. And notice how it's basically halfway between the two. Right about here, and maybe just a tiny bit less than 40,000. So let's say 39,000 would be about how much someone with 10 years of experience would be earning based on our trend line. So, drawing and using trend lines. First of all, a trend line, another name for it is the best fit line. Well, technically these aren't, the first one that I drew wasn't a best fit line, but it told us, hey, in general, what's happening here? As we sketch the line, we want approximately the same number of points, about the same total distance away from the line. So notice here how that kind of works out. Then we can use that trend line to make some predictions. And we can look at either the x value or the independent variable and compare that to the dependent variable, or vice versa. Also, in terms of predicting, we want to stay within the data that we have, or just slightly to the side of it. We could maybe go out there a little bit. We don't want to be predicting way over here, say 60 years of experience, and push that way up there. Well, who knows what happens to the actual incomes once we get out here further. So we can't safely predict too far away from the data that we have, and we really should probably stay within the data that we have to make some reliable predictions. I hope this video was helpful. Keep using those trend lines and working hard on your math. You can do it.